Top 5 musicians who hated the band Kiss? Was Kiss more of a cartoon band than serious musicians? And which musician said Gene Simmons is not a musician, he is an entertainer? Kiss was an American rock band from New York. Formed in January 1973, the group originally included rhythm guitarist and vocalist Paul Stanley, bassist and vocalist Gene Simmons, lead guitarist Ace Frehley and drummer Peter Criss. Kiss is one of the most successful bands of all times that has sold more than 75 million records worldwide and has inspired a whole generation of musicians. Kiss became initially known by their image and wild theatrical stage shows rather than their music. Their success relied heavily on their use of makeup and stage effects. And for those who still craved rock and roll, Kiss was their savior. Their music was loud, heavy, and admittedly a bit simplistic. But that was precisely what some people were looking for at the time. Kiss was the perfect band for that moment. It has significantly influenced hard rock and heavy metal, creating some of the most catchy and memorable riffs in hard rock history. Some feel they have been so successful with limited talent. Some think they place too much emphasis on their stage show and theatrics and not enough on the music, and many are turned off by Gene Simmons' ego. Here are 5 musicians who can't stand them and why. Number 1, Carlos Santana. Carlos Santana criticized Kiss, prompting Gene Simmons to hit back in one of the most unlikely feuds in rock history. In 2005, Santana remarked about Simmons, "He's not a musician, he's an entertainer. Kiss is Las Vegas entertainment, so he wouldn't know what music is anyway. That's why he wears all that stuff." Kiss bassist Gene Simmons had harsh words for Carlos Santana during an interview on Fox 5 News. When asked about plans for an upcoming Kiss album, Simmons talked of plans for a new tour and, out of nowhere, took a swipe at hard rock headliner Santana. "It's time for us to go out and show the little boys how the big boys do it. I'm sick and tired of these bands like Carlos Santana looking at his shoes and thinking that's a rock concert. Get off the stage," Simmons said. Since 2005, a long-standing conflict has existed between the two, when Santana criticized Simmons' musical talent, branding him as Las Vegas entertainment. Number 2, Nikki Sixx. Nikki Sixx has frequently mentioned Kiss as a significant influence. However, his perspective on the band shifted when Gene Simmons made inaccurate statements about Prince's passing being drug-related. Sixx expressed disappointment in Simmons' recent comments, suggesting they have affected his admiration for him. His recent heartless remarks shows why he's not my hero anymore. He wrote some good songs, but hasn't in a long time, and loves to brag about himself. He later admitted, "I'll just be honest with you. When I was growing up, I loved Kiss. They influenced me as a songwriter. Kiss gave Motley Crue one of their very first tours. They've done a lot of great stuff for me in my life. I've co-headlined tours with those guys, I've known them forever." Gene's is a very opinionated man, and so am I. However, he also mentioned that engaging in a feud wasn't appropriate for them. "To be honest, I think we're starting to resemble a group of elderly women bickering at this stage," he remarked. Number 3, Steven Tyler. In interview with the Cowhead Show, he recalled a bad experience with them on tour. "I remember when we went out with Kiss in 1976. One of our roadies got into a knife fight with their guys. So I hated them ever since. I sometimes get offended by their music. I hear that and go," the frontman once commented. "What's this all about? Do they really mean it? That's why Aerosmith have been around forever. Because we take ourselves seriously." Steven Tyler criticized Kiss, saying that they were a comic book rock band with spackled faces and a couple of hits. Number 4, Pete Townshend. In 2014, Pete Townshend talked about Kiss in an interview with Hazy Rock and explained why, in his opinion, the phenomenon that the group is would never happen in the United Kingdom. "One thing that Kiss are absolutely, unquestionably not, in any sense whatsoever, is European or English. They are straight out of Cream magazine meets Las Vegas. Or New Orleans, even. There is a bit of New Orleans in it, a very American, kind of Mardi Gras thing. They couldn't have happened here, they could maybe have happened in Berlin, in which case their music wouldn't have been like their music. They would have looked like they looked. But they would have made different kind of music. They're a very American phenomenon." The early years of Kiss were difficult, because there was sort of a parody of rock inherent in what they were doing. Also, that business of wearing disguises. Not quite sure about it. You know, I think I'd have to do an academic study to try and work out what's really doing on there. Number 5, Bob Dylan. Did you know that Bob Dylan had a strong dislike for the band Kiss? He was the voice of a generation, known for his deep, meaningful songs that addressed social and political issues. Dylan's disdain wasn't just about the music but the entire ethos of Kiss. The focus on image. Dylan's disdain wasn't just about the music but the entire ethos of Kiss. The focus on image, merchandise, and spectacle was a stark contrast to Dylan's focus on lyrical depth and social commentary. Dylan believed their songs were harmful and soul-destroying, and he committed to countering such decadent art through his own music, which focused on enlightenment and spiritual redemption. In 1979, Bob Dylan didn't need to hear rumors to think Kiss were Satanists. He formed this opinion independently after becoming a born-again Christian. His new religious beliefs began to influence his music, and he saw Kiss as adversaries who would taint the world with satanic music, posing a threat to rock and roll. During his performance at the University of Arizona, he began incorporating Bible references into some of his well-known songs on that tour. Fans were confused by his new attitude and openly expressed their frustration. Dylan was angry and felt that times had changed for the worse. He scathingly yelled, "If you want rock and roll, you can go see Kiss and rock and roll all the way down to the pit."